Hi, this is Dawn Goldberg with WritingFromYourSoul.com, and welcome to the next installment of your Soulful Creative Marketing Series. So today's particular strategy that we're going to play with is, I'm not sure how well it's going to translate on video, but I'm going to do my best. And one of the things I want to say about that is some of these strategies are definitely very word-based and visual, and some aren't. There are all sorts of strategies that you can do verbally, listening to things, recording things, working with other people. I could bring other people into these video series, and I could show you how some of this creativity and tapping into your soul works for you to develop whatever it is, your message that you want to convey. I can show you all that, and I only am doing a 5-part video series as opposed to, say, a 100-part video series. Someday, maybe. All right, so today what we're going to talk about is using the strategy of questioning to help flesh out whatever the deep concept is that you're trying to convey. So let me give you an example. I was reading Sarah Van Breathnach's Peace and Plenty, and there was a part that she wrote that said, money equals an exchange of currency for our precious nature's resources. And when I read that, I immediately knew I wanted to write about it. I wanted to probably write a blog post. And I sat there with my journal, because that's where I was going to write first, and the page just stayed blank. There was this concept, the concept of exchanging currency for our precious nature's resources, very nicely laid out in that sentence, and it was a big, huge concept. And my page stayed blank. I couldn't get that big, huge concept into form. Even in my journals, I usually have no problem writing, just blah, 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 and it's almost like throwing up all over my journals in word-based form. But how could I put this together to make any sense? And the problem, or the challenge, was that it was just too big of a concept. So how did I break it down? Well, the first thing I decided to do was ask myself a question. And that question was, to try to break this down, is what do I exchange money for in my life? And that gave me a starting point. All I was doing then was answering the question. I didn't have to worry about, well, how do I want to start the blog post out, and what points do I want to cover, and what strong conclusion do I want to end with, and what's that deeper message that I really want to convey. Yes, of course, all of that will hopefully come out in the finished blog post, but I couldn't start there. I needed to start smaller. I needed to break that big concept down into smaller chunks. And so once I had this question, it's almost like taking a test, especially if you were a good test taker in school, is I'm just answering the question. There's not any pressure, there's not any, the big message and the deep writing from my soul, because I'm answering this question. Now, of course, this question is a deep, soulful question, but all I have to do is answer it. So this question was an easy one to come up with. If what Sarah says is that money equals an exchange of currency for our precious nature's resources, it's an easy question to come up with. Okay, so what do I exchange? Sometimes the question may not be that easy. So you can start out with questions like, and if you took any journalism classes, this will certainly be familiar, but you can start out with basic questions. Who? Are you talking about you? Are you talking about a group of people? Are you talking about your ideal client, customer? So who? Where? If that's important. When? Again, if that's important. And the question that probably is extremely important no matter what you're writing about is, another W, why? Why is any of this important? And this question, why, is probably the basis for writing from your soul. Why is this important? And you answer that, and then you actually go deeper. Okay, well, why is that important? And you take that answer, and then you say, why is that important? And when you answer these questions, and it could be any way, it could be in your head, it could be verbally, if you process talking out loud more easily than you do by writing, it could be writing on a piece of paper like that, and you're just answering questions. And what invariably happens is that then you have content, you have harvest to choose from that you can pick. I want this apple, and I want this orange, and I want this cucumber, and I'm going to put these all together, as opposed to that blank page. You know, store's closed, nothing's there to buy, which is much harder to write from. So this strategy, like all the others, is really about taking this blank page and doing whatever we can to make it not blank and fill it up. So I'd love to hear how the questioning strategy works for you, what questions you might be asking. I hope you've enjoyed today's installment of the Soulful Creative Marketing Series. I'm so glad you were here, and thank you. This is Dawn Goldberg with writingfromyoursoul.com.